Readers are leaders. It may sound cheesy, but I will never forget hearing these words at 15 years old. I wouldn't have chose it, but it would be almost a decade before I'd actually start to read in my personal life again. We all read and scan through books during school because we have to. When you line up all the things we can do for enjoyment this year, books are not at the top of many people's list. The idea of returning to reading is not a new concept. It's more reformational than anything. The idea that we should read more, not only for growth, but also personal enjoyment, has been lost for over a decade. As with most things that are beneficial for us, we have an idea of what it will be like and very little experience doing it. The gym seems scary before you go. The classic fiction novel seems boring before you even crack a page. There's always a bit of resistance when wanting to do the things that are good for you. You rarely have a hard time eating a brownie or binge watching your 4th show in season 5. It's the things that will refill your soul and calm your mind that often have the hardest time breaking through. A few years ago, I would have told you I didn't like reading. Then I realized I was just reading bad books. I was only looking at what was currently a bestseller in the Faith or Soul section while neglecting centuries of classics on Amazon or at the public library. When I first started, it was purely for personal growth and increasing knowledge. I wanted to be successful in business and learn more about my journey of the soul. For this reason, I'd usually only read once a day and only one chapter at a time. After I'd complete one chapter, I'd smile, close the book, and go on to something else. I started to give reading part of my time, but not very much of it. I'll never forget the moment I got lost in a book. I didn't want to put it down, and I couldn't even understand what was happening. I moved past it simply being a discipline, and I started to enjoy it. It took years of reading to get to the place where I realized that all my reading wasn't supposed to be for progress. Although I'm a big fan of learning from people that have gone ahead of me, self-help tips, and improving my life, life is more than learning. Here are a few practical tips that will help you on your journey of reading. Consider the way you consume books. You can read paperback, hardcovers, obviously, but you can also listen to audiobooks, you can read ebooks on your iPad or your computer. There's so many different ways to listen and read books, and you'll actually end up reading more than you realize after you look at different ways that you can read. You've heard me say this one way too many times, but put your phone down. Create space for you to get lost in that book. Get the digital side of your life at least far enough away. If you're gonna read on your iPad or your computer, sometimes I'll just turn off the Wi-Fi. That'll keep me from getting distracted or getting other notifications. Create a space in your life to read. Maybe it's a chair, a spot in your bedroom or your living room. Find that space that you love to read, and you'll begin to cultivate that area where you begin to not just read books for learning, but also for enjoyment. As I said, something I did early on, I would just read the bestsellers or whatever was on the front of the shelves. Then I started to search out the classics. Search books that are older or maybe certain topics that you're interested in from decades or centuries ago. It will make reading much richer, and you'll see a whole different side of the world and culture as you begin to read outside of just the what's hot this year novels and self-help books that are going to be all over Barnes & Noble. Stretch yourselves a bit, get outside the box, and read books that maybe everyone around you aren't reading. Whenever I'm reading, I have to do things to stay alert. I'll have a highlighter or a pen or pencil. I'll just make marks or notes as I'm reading. Not a lot of stuff, but just something to engage my mind as I'm reading. If I'm on my iPad or computer, I can highlight as well there. Book clubs can be really helpful for your growth as a reader. I'm not talking about just a circle of chairs with a bunch of old women sitting around. I mean, I could be into that too. It could be fun, you know. Book clubs can be virtual or on social media. You can get a book in the box every month from certain book clubs, but the main thing is that you're getting in community, talking, learning, and growing together. This one's kind of a lost art for people my age and a bit younger. We probably don't even remember this place exists, but you can go to the library. There's a massive place in every one of our cities that has all of these free books of history and just a richness and so many different things that we can explore, so many topics that we can dive into if we just simply go into the library. It's going to take a lot to get ourselves there, but it's free, it's quiet, it's a place that we can explore for a few hours during the week. So hey, go to the library. It's something fun. It's old, but it's new. It's new and old. I don't know. Just do it. A lot of readers will tell you it's not just about the genres or the topics, but it's really the authors. People buy books oftentimes down the road by authors they connect with, not just based on topic. So find authors you like. Once you find one, I love Anne Lamott, I love Malcolm Gladwell, I love so many different people that I've connected with, so I'll read more of their books even if the topic might be outside of something that I'm used to just because I love their language and way of writing. The last one's just fun. Read with a friend. Buy them a book. There doesn't have to be a lot of strict rules. Just read and enjoy a book together, have a meal, talk about it, and be accountable with people in your life. As with anything, you get what you put into it. The more you slow down and give to reading, the more it will give to you. I know you've probably heard me say this 10 times, but it's worth saying again. When you wake up in the morning, you choose how to start your day. Is what you're doing filling you up and centering you for the day ahead? At night, if you're like me, you come home exhausted and ready to decompress. Does scrolling for hours on social media and watching multiple shows actually give you rest? I'm all for Netflix and social media in moderation, but that being said, reading allows for a special type of peace and calm to surround you. We are forced into the silence as we remove the distractions of social media ads and unexpected movie scenes. Reading is predictable, and we need more of that than we realize. You're going to sit down, open the pages, and have some quiet and peaceful time to yourself. You're going to escape your world and maybe even learn a few things or gain a new perspective. I have no idea what it was like to be a child living in Mexico during wartime, but after reading Battles in the Desert, I now at least have an understanding of it. I could never imagine what it was like to be a pastor during Hitler's regime, but Bonhoeffer puts me front and center. Reading allows me to be empathetic and understanding to people that are nothing like me. We've all heard someone say he or she is a well-read person. Readers might be quiet and different at times, but it's probably because they're seeing the world differently. Readers have moved past the surface. We're not just mindlessly staring into the abyss of social media and pre-programmed news stories. We are tapping into truths and stories that we would never have experienced in our own lifetime. I know each year we're constantly looking for ways to improve and grow as humans. While I think books are one of the top ways we can do that, I also wanted to share the importance of just simply enjoying it. As I always say, if you don't like it, you probably won't do it. This is something I once heard from the author Seth Godin. Life is too short to read bad books, so if it's bad, just put it down and pick up the next one. The main reason I prefer books over podcasts and YouTube videos is because every word is carefully crafted by the author and publisher. As you read, you know that the best things were left in the book and all the excess was taken out. I listen to podcasts and watch YouTube videos, but oftentimes it's just people speaking freely and can be hard to find the meat of the content. So it's not to hate on YouTube videos and podcasts, there's a time and place for those. But understand that books are curated, books are put together with so much time, years of work, for you to be able to sit down and enjoy with that little bit of time that you have available. Maybe you don't think you're good at reading or writing, and that's okay. I'd start with something simple and enjoyable. If you're a visual learner like me, maybe you want to find a good coffee table book or magazine. Reading is reading no matter what method you choose. Whether you read every day or you haven't cracked a book since school, I believe you have the ability to dive into reading. Remove all the pressure and choose to slow down and enjoy doing something that people have practiced for centuries. Feel free to rewatch the quick tips section of this video. Write down the points that you think will help you the most. Since we're a community, I'd also love to hear practices that help with your reading. You could also share a favorite book and why it means so much to you. I'll be reading the comment section below to see what all you're reading this year. This should be fun, and I'm convinced that it can be. No matter where you are, I hope you feel inspired and encouraged to return to reading.